Yep. Anytime now.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Ronni Guttin, and I'm very excited to be learning with you every couple of weeks, I think it will be, from here on out. I'd love for each of you to, you can unmute yourself if we stay a small group, and then perhaps the conversation will feel a little bit more natural. It's a little weird on Zoom, but I guess by now we're all used to it. I'd love to tell you a little bit about the class and what we're going to do. But before I do that, I'm wondering if each of you could introduce yourself to me. And I'd love for you to tell me your name, your age, or your grade in school is even better. And one thing that you enjoy doing when you're not Zooming with me, because that's going to be fun. Julia, can I start with you up there? Sophia, I'm so sorry. Sophia? Is it Sophia? Yep.
I'm Sophia. I'm 17. I'm a junior, and I like to read.
Awesome. Me too. What do you like to read?
Different books.
All sorts of topics?
Yeah.
Cool. Cool. Daniel, I'm going to go down to you.
My name is Daniel. I'm 17. I'm an incoming senior, and one of my hobbies is programming.
Awesome. Anna? Can you hear me?
Anna, can you unmute yourself?
She's frozen.
Oh, no, she's not.
There she is.
Can you unmute yourself?
Anna, can you unmute? Thanks,
Oh, yeah.
Sasha.
Yeah, my computer was broken. I couldn't hear.
So she couldn't hear the question.
Anna, I was hoping you would tell me how old you are and one interest that you have, something you like to do. I think she's having, Anna, I'm going to come back to you. Work on your technical problem. I see you got some help there in the background. It must be tech support. Michael, David, let me start with David. Let me go to David over here.
Hello, I'm David, and I enjoy playing chess.
How old are you?
I'm 13, going into 8th grade.
Excellent. Okay, cool. Is it Damir? I don't know how to pronounce your name.
Yeah, it's Damir.
Tell me a little something about yourself, Damir.
I like to play video games, and well, I'm 13 and I'm going into 8th grade.
Awesome. Awesome. Anna, are you in better shape there now?
Yeah. I'm 12. I'm going into 7th.
And what do you enjoy doing? We'll come back. Michael. Can you hear me, Michael? Oh, your microphone is broken. Okay, I'm so sorry. I would hope that you can get that fixed. It's much more fun to enjoy this if we can hear your voice too, see what happens. And I have no idea who this person is that has a lot of numbers and letters. And if you are supposed to be part of this group, would you unmute yourself and tell me your name? If you're not supposed to be part of the group, I'm going to see if Sasha can, well, we'll either ignore it or move it on. Michael, if things change and you can find another device perhaps with a microphone, I'd be thrilled to hear a little about you. You could actually put your age and an interest in the chat box if you'd like. That way we could all know, to everybody, we could all know a little about you. So let's wait while we're waiting for Michael to hopefully do that. I'd love to tell you, so I am the director of an all-boys summer camp. I know that Daniel attends and perhaps some of your friends do at Camp Avoda. And that's how Sasha and I met quite a few years ago now. And one of the things that I actually love to do, and she knows that, is to work with teens and to teach teens and to explore interesting things. And one of the things that I know you would all love to be able to get some more skill with is some public speaking and sharing your ideas in a way that's understandable and important for other people to hear. And this is going to be the perfect forum because we're all going to care about one another's opinions. And there's only a couple of rules while we're doing this. One is that we are respectful, and somebody may have an opinion very, very different from yours. And there are ways to disagree with respect. And in fact, that's an old Jewish tradition, is to disagree a lot and to do it respectfully as well. So tonight, I chose something a little bit interesting and a little bit challenging, and it may be very new to all of you, but it's an example of how Jewish thought didn't stop a million years ago. Well, actually several thousand years ago. It's not like 5,000 or so years ago when we became Jews, there were rules and nobody thought about them again after that. In fact, people are thinking about them. Experts are thinking about it all the time, because I got to tell you something. We're not the same as our parents. They're not the same as their parents. So tell me something, and you can put a thumbs up if you agree with the next thing I'm going to say. I'm going to say the following, and if you agree with this statement, put a thumbs up. You can use your thumbs up thing or just your own thumb. Sometimes my parents and I disagree because they're used to doing things one way and I think they should be done another way. I'm going to
agree. Do the thumbs up thing on Zoom?
Absolutely, you can.
How do you do it?
Let's see where they are. I never use the reactions. Go down to the bottom. Use your cursor.
I see it.
Thank you, David. I see that you are on it. So I think that that's true. And by the way, it was true for the rabbis 2,000, 3,000, 1,000 years ago. And by the way, even for my very young rabbi at my temple, who is 36 years old, I'm quite sure that he disagrees with his parents. So we are living, I chose something tonight because it seems to be something that we're all thinking about. One of the reasons that we're actually on this Zoom and perhaps not meeting in person is because our lives are pretty different right now because of the pandemic, because of this virus that we're all learning how to live with for now. I hope we don't have to live with it forever, but we do right now. And we want to still have a good quality of life. So there are many, many things, many celebrations, many family things that are really challenging. So feel free to unmute yourself and just be respectful. Let's try to have a conversation.
For example, one of the times me and my parents disagree is that when my parents want to do one thing, I want to do another thing, and I don't always agree with them, and I don't, like, sometimes they think that they're right, but I think they're wrong, because I think I'm smart and know more things than they do.
Okay, so that is one example for not agreeing with parents. I want to ask another question. Thank you for that, Sophia. I want to ask another question. In your life, what kinds of things do you usually celebrate with your family or your friends or something? And maybe in the last few months, it was hard to do that. Can each of you tell me one thing? Any order?
Birthdays.
Your birthday, no party, right?
Birthday, my friend's birthday.
Okay, Okay, hold on, Sophia. One thing we're going to give somebody else. I heard birthday. Daniel, how about you? You unmuted, I think.
Yeah, we celebrate some Jewish holidays like Hanukkah.
Yep. I mean, Hanukkah happens to have still been okay, but I don't know if it's going to be okay this year, like with a large group. Right. Damir, did you say birthday also? Okay. Anna, I can't see your face, but I'm hoping you're still there. You'll have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, well, we celebrate like birthdays, some holidays.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are good answers. Good. Michael,
Eh,
did you say something that I missed? Or maybe chatting it to me? Oh, okay. I'm gonna, if he has something. So, Sasha, is there, oh, his mic's broken, right? I forgot. Thanks. David, you are sharp. You are really on it. You can be my tech support. Sasha, is there something that you have missed that maybe you'd like to have been able to do?
Wait,
I missed a lot
you
of
skipped
things.
me.
I missed family camps that we do.
Wait, you skipped me.
I didn't skip you, Sophia. You told me birthdays.
No, I'm saying my friend's 16th birthday, but also Passover.
Oh, Passover was a big one. I agree with you. I missed that too. And Sasha brought up family camp. I have to say, I'm still very sad about that. But I have to tell you what made me the most
I don't know what family camp is because I wasn't with Jookender last summer.
Well, hopefully you'll be able to be with Jookender next year and you'll find out what it is. But we're going to move on from that. I must tell you that one of the things that I had to miss was the funeral of a friend's parent. And it was somebody quite old. And I was still very sad because it was somebody that I really loved. And so that was very hard. And I'm sure that it was very difficult for the family not to share that. So I'm going to tell you that we're going to look at different things as we discuss these things together. And I picked something tonight. So I want to explain to you, this might be a custom that you're not familiar with. When a baby boy is born, and only a baby boy is born, the baby boy has a special ceremony called a Brit Milah or a bris. Did anybody ever hear of this?
And my cousins had a bris.
Okay, so you have heard, did you go to the bris?
No, I wasn't at the bris when it happened.
Okay, so the bris is a ceremony when the baby boy is born and he has a little tiny procedure done on his penis because this is something that Jews have done for 5,000 years. In the old days, they used to have to do it to themselves. So imagine how horrible that was. And they were not babies. Now, we do it to an 8-day-old baby. And it's a very big deal for a lot of people. And it's a way of saying that you're not now part of the Jewish people. That's not the only way, but it is one of the ways, and it's a very important way to many people. So the question came up recently, and remember back, I said we make rules and we have laws, and they started more than 5,000 years ago, but we're still evolving them because we're evolving and we're changing. Rabbi wrote the following question. I can share my screen if some of you might enjoy reading it. Let me do this. And you'll get to see my very messy desktop. I'm a little embarrassed. Here we go though. So I'll read this, you can read with me. This deals with Brit Milah, and it's saying that this is dealing with the spiritual, with the religious part of Brit Milah. A doctor has to be consulted for any of the health things related. So the question is, this is a Rabbi Julie Adler asked this, what should be the proper procedure about Brit Milah during COVID-19? And the response is in the midst of the pandemic, and the mohalim or mohalot, those are the people that do the Brit Milah, are a little confused and a little frightened. We're going to examine the issues carefully one by one. The first issue is, how important is Brit Milah? Now, do any of you know enough about it, or you've been, and how important do you think Brit Milah is? You might have no opinion about this particular.
My dad, my uncle, and my grandfather and my great-grandfather didn't have one because they lived in Soviet Russia, so they didn't have the chance to have one, but my two cousins, they got a chance to have one.
That's awesome. So obviously in your family, it was very important once people were able to do it. It's important in my family too. Anybody else have anything to say about how important this might be? Anybody want to unmute? So let me ask a different question. Why might it be important? Why do you think this might be an important thing?
The tradition that was done by ancestors for thousands of generations.
Oh, David, I couldn't have said it any better. It's a tradition, and it's our ancestors. I'm going to tell you a really funny story. So I have 4 children. 3 of them are girls. Obviously, we didn't do this to them. When my son was born, he was the 3rd one. My very, very oldest friend said to me, Ronni, she already had 2 sons. She said to me, Ronni, it's terrible. It's the worst thing. You're never going to live through anything worse than this with your children. It's barbaric. It's horrible. Blah, 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 blah. She went on and on and on and on. And I did not agree with her, but I had never been the mother whose child was having this done. So I got up that morning when my son was born, and it's the 8th day. I got up, I put a pretty dress on. I thought I looked pretty cute. And we set up the room, and 2 of my daughters were born. My other daughter was born after him. And we had a lot of people in our house because we did it at home. Really a lot of people, like 80 people. And by the way, it was on my daughter's 4th birthday. And I thought that it was the most amazing thing. And my friends kept looking at me like, wasn't I going to fall apart? Wasn't I going to be all upset? No, I cried a little bit because I was very emotional. But I have to tell you, it was really kind of a wonderful thing. What I thought about was, wow, my son was able to be a part of a tradition that included his father and his grandfather and his great-grandfathers. And I have to tell you, for me, it's a very beautiful part. It's something very important and a big deal that you can do to be part of a group of people.
Wait, hold on. If there are 80 people at a breast, does that mean it's easy for them to spread the virus?
So my son is 30 years old. We didn't have this virus 30 years ago.
No, I'm saying if the same event happens today with 80 people.
It would not be allowed to, Sophia. That's part of what I was hoping you would think a little bit about. So this rabbi asks the question, during the pandemic, are we supposed to delay it? Are we supposed to put it off past the 8 days? What do you guys think? Should you be putting it off?
Yes.
Why, Damir? A single yes isn't enough.
Because babies, well, children, especially like babies, any like toddlers also are very, what's the word? They're more likely to get the virus. Well, not more likely, but more likely to get symptoms from the virus. As an 8-day-old like baby, I'm pretty sure you will have a hard time like surviving that. And I'm pretty sure that like, having a little ceremony is not as important as living, all your entire life.
Well, 100%. Who has something to say to Damir about that? Agree or disagree?
Yeah, I agree, because when you're just 8 days old, you don't have a strong immune system, so it's a high chance you're going to get it, and you might even die, so you won't even live to be a member of the Jewish community and be and carry the legacy of your parents. So what's the point of having a bris if that's going to
Okay.
risk death?
All right.
You're going to risk death.
Okay, that's a good comment. I'm gonna give David, you look like you had something to say before.
I think I agree with Demir and Sophia because, as they both said, it's, in my opinion, not worth the risk. But I'm sure for families that are much more religious than ours, then that could be, their logic could be slightly different because for them traditions could be more important than a risk.
Okay. Daniel, you have something to add to that?
Yeah, I agree with that, Rian. It's like,
Huh,
I mean, yeah.
you're a boring group. No, not really. Anna, do you have something you'd like to add to that?
No, not really. I also agree with everyone.
Oh, okay. So, Sasha, how do you feel about that? Just out of curiosity.
Just out of curiosity, I'm not sure how I feel about it. None in my family had it before. And we did it for our son, but it wasn't a religious procedure. It was just something that done in a hospital. And we decided it's going to be in a hospital because it's better for a baby, maybe. And since we're not religious, it was kind of like half. It's like Solomon decision. So
Yep.
we still did it, but it wasn't traditionally made.
Right.
In terms of how to do it now, I don't know. It may, for those who are religious, I think it doesn't really matter if it's now or then. Even if they just meet with just their family is going to be there and nobody else, it's still going to be significant for them. And if it still has some kind of significance, maybe it's something that has to do because it brings family together. So just kind of quality time they can spend with their baby.
So I have, oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
No, that's good. Keep going.
I really don't know how to do all these talks.
Okay, that's fine. I happen to agree more with Sasha than with all of you. I actually would do it now, but I would limit the number of people who would be there, Sophia. I would never have a Brit Milah right now.
I would do it partially on Zoom.
Huh?
Like partially on Zoom, partially on person.
Yes, I think that I'm not even sure, to be very honest with you, I don't know if I would even bother with the Zoom. I think that I have a pretty big immediate family. We always like to say we're a party by ourselves anyway, because I have 4 children and they're all married and 3 of them have children. So we have a lot of people in our immediate group anyway. So I probably would only do it that way, but I would probably do it. I have to say, I think that we always talk about the circumstances for delaying a Brit Milah. If there's any perceived danger to the baby, we would delay it. Nobody, I'm telling you this, look at my face, no matter how religious they are, thinks that it's more important to do this on the 8th day than to risk the baby's health. I know many, many people, religious, not religious, who waited because perhaps the baby was a little bit sick. They're very, very, very careful about it. So the question is, does performing this Brit Milah right now endanger the infant? And if a family feels that way, there are many things they could do. Like Sasha, they could do it in the hospital. So even though it's not a religious ceremony at somebody's home, it does happen. Some people could delay it. But let's look at what the conclusion from the rabbis were. It says, and by the way, interestingly enough, this is, as some of you might have figured out, a question from a Reformed Jewish rabbi. This is not a question that was asked of an Orthodox Jewish rabbi. They say that Brit Milah is something on the 8th day that we take very seriously. It's a mitzvah, it's something we're supposed to do. However, number 2, we take seriously the obligation of shmirat haguf, preserving our well-being, and we recognize that there's danger. If there's danger to a healthy infant, we would postpone the brit milah. Then, number 3, in keeping with our commitment to taking into account the best scientific and medical advice, given what we know about COVID-19, blah, 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 we don't find that doing the Brit Milah on the 8th day is more risky than waiting. Now, what I did not put up here, because the rest of it is very long words, is that one of the reasons they don't want to wait, which is something that none of you mentioned, you might not know this.
Can you show it?
What?
Can you show it?
I could show it, yes. Let's see if I have it right here. No, it's not right here, but I do have another paper and I can show it, but it's very long. While I'm looking for it, I'll tell you that I've got it. It's not, I have it ready for you. Here it is. One of the things that they are suggesting, I didn't make this one big because it's just a lot of words, but I'll get to where they're suggesting that it could be another 12 to 18 months before we are through with this pandemic. By then, the baby is a toddler, as somebody pointed out. And to be honest, this procedure is quite easy for a little baby. It's not terrible, but it's not as easy when a child is 18 months old. Let me look. Okay, so it says here, medical literature, I don't know if you can follow my cursor, regards, it's this section right here, requiring only local anesthesia up to 6 weeks. After 6 weeks, you might want to wait and do it under general anesthesia, which is a little bit riskier. So that is another scientific reason, actually, to wait. How do you feel about that? Does that change your mind at all?
Yeah.
It's okay. Doesn't.
Yeah, can you go to the conclusions?
You want to go back to the conclusions?
No, here.
It's here. Here's the conclusions. Same ones I showed you before.
Yeah. Like, where do you get the article?
Where did I get the article?
Yeah.
It's an article from the Reform Movement. I got it. It's these rabbis are right here with their listings are the ones that I can show you. Anna, oh, wait a minute. You know what, Anna, if you tell me your email address, if you want to see it.
Fine. Anyway, are these rabbis from Greater Boston?
No, they're from all over the country. I don't know. I'm looking to see. I don't actually know any of them. They're from all over the country. Does anybody else have anything did this change their mind, perhaps?
It didn't change my mind.
Nope. Okay. Anybody else? No?
Yeah, so I mean, even though I disagree with what they found, that I still think waiting a little bit would be safer for the child. I still think that the ceremony could work if you just scale it down a lot, like only like really close friends and like really close family members. But I mean, like everything else, you couldn't have it nearly as big as what you'd normally have the event.
I happen to agree, Daniel. As I said, that would probably be my choice, but that doesn't make it the right choice. Anybody else have anything else they want to add? Think about it. So I have I have a couple of questions for you. I happen to pick this. particular topic because, you know, it was related to the pandemic. It was something that I could easily put together. And I just wanted to do a bit of an introduction with you. I have a couple of questions because I would like this thing that we're doing together to be meaningful to you. So I guess I would love to know, and you don't have to tell me now, I'm going to put in the chat box, I'm going to give you my, I'm gonna stop screen sharing. I'm gonna give you my email address, and I'm going to ask you if any of you have things that you would like to discuss. I have plenty of things. My goal, oh, wait a minute, I just sent that to one person. I meant to send it to everyone. I have plenty of things that that we can talk about. I'm wondering if there are broad categories or topics that interest you the most. What I'd like to be able to do in the future is send you the material ahead of time so that you can look at it. And then we can
That's
really
great,
have a little
Ronnie.
Excuse me, Sophia?
That's great, Ronnie. That's
Oh,
great.
good. And then you can read the material ahead of time, and then we can debate this a little bit differently. We could also go into breakout rooms sometimes, and a group of you can prepare it and talk to one another. I don't have to do all the talking. In fact, if you're better prepared, probably I should do a lot less talking. I'm sure you're much more interesting than I am. And of course, eventually we'll get used to each other. So if you have topics that you're interested in, and it doesn't have to be the exact thing, or maybe you'd like to be like the rabbi who asked a particular question, texts, we are going to explore what other Jewish scholars and educators have to say about certain things and why. But again, that doesn't mean you have to agree. I don't always agree, that's for sure. So if you have topics I don't need to know right now, I'll prepare something for our first real one, which is the 23rd of September. But I'd love to know what kinds of things you're interested in. It could be science, it could be politics, it could be health, it could be family relationships, it could be any of those things. But believe it or not, Judaism has a lot to say about all of those things. In fact, I'll give you
topics just about Judaism, or can they be about anything and everything?
Well, so here's the thing. It's a great question, Sophia. It can be about anything or everything, but I will tell you a Jewish thought process about it. But Jews think about everything. Every single part of your life, some rabbi had something to say about. Good, bad, indifferent. So if you give me some topics, we can come up with some interesting things. In fact, you're going to learn some things that you might not have known before or thought about in the same way. So some of it will come from the Torah. Anybody know the story about Abraham bringing his son Isaac, and he thought he was giving him to be sacrificed and burnt to God? Anybody know that story? It's a horrible story. It's a horrible story. And yet we read it every single year and we learn things from it. So I would be very interested, by the way. Huh? What can we learn from it? I'm not even going to tell you right now, but I am going to tell you this because I want to use that one week and we'll talk about it. I am going to tell you that there's no way, in my opinion, that God ever expected Abraham to sacrifice his son. We as Jews never believed in human sacrifice. So hold that thought. There's a lot of interesting things to talk about. So anybody have any questions? Does this time work pretty well? Sasha, do you collect email addresses of people?
Not from this one because I already know everybody's email.
So
except from DPGVCV93ZIVM, everybody else is familiar to me already.
So will you share those emails with me and then I can send materials out ahead of time?
I'll ask their parents because this is just a trial session.
Yep.
I'll see who is going to be signing up for the class. And
Okay.
you definitely will get a list of those who sign up for the class.
Okay, that would be great. And guys, every class is going to stand by itself. So if you have to miss one because maybe this virus will go away and we'll all get lucky enough to do some traveling, and you don't want to zoom in from where you are, you won't be behind. You'll never miss something. Every single session will stand by itself. So we'll make sure of that. All right?
By stand by itself.
I mean, Sophia, that if you miss one for some reason, you won't come to the next time feeling like you missed it, because I'm going to choose something different every time we meet to keep it interesting.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, it was nice to see all of you. You feel free, if you want my email address, it's there. You can write it down and you can get in touch with me even without your parents. And I'll be happy to hear from you. And if you have any ideas, otherwise I'll be.
Facebook account?
Please?
You have a Facebook account?
I do. I'll tell you my name and you can find me. It's a picture of me with my kids. Are you guys mostly on Instagram? Snapchat? I don't snap. I have an Instagram. I don't have a Snapchat. Nothing for you? David, good for you. Daniel, are you on social media at all?
And I have pretty much all of them. I just don't post anything.
No, I don't really post very much either. I mostly use mine for work.
Also, do you have social media?
Do I?
No, Sasha.
Yes, what?
Do you have social media?
Oh, of course. And I can promise at least Daniel, he's going to be using a lot of his account. His account this year. For the program he signed up for social entrepreneurship, trust me, you're going to use all of them.
Even
Good.
Facebook?
Huh?
Say it again?
Do you use Facebook?
Yeah, a lot. I'm using Facebook, I'm using Instagram, not very much, but yeah, some sort of Twitter and
We don't have Twitter. We have Facebook.
it's okay. Facebook is the most reliable right now. For my activities, Facebook is the best.
Daniel, I can't really believe that you're a senior this year. That one took me by a little bit of surprise. I don't know why I still thought you were a junior. I lost a year there. Wow.
Time flies.
It's a weird year to be a senior.
Time flies. My son goes to 8th grade this year.
Unbelievable. That's unbelievable.
Also, where do you live?
Oh,
Where do you live?
me or Ronni?
You.
Me? I still live in Sherborne.
Ronnie?
Ronnie, I live in Rhode Island.
Where in Rhode Island?
Johnston, Rhode Island.
So is that where your camp is?
No, camp is in Middleborough, Massachusetts.
I live in Acton.
Huh?
I live in Acton.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand you.
I live in Acton.
You live in Acton. Oh, cool. Cool. All right. If nobody has any more questions, I'm going to leave you with my information, and I am going to head to finish a little more work. I'm doing my nephew's bar mitzvah on this Shabbat because they can't do it in the synagogue, because it's kind of closed. So they asked me if I would do it. So we have just not too many people. We're doing it outdoors. So I've got to go get all the rest of the prayers ready. It was kind of a last minute thing.
So
if
would
you're-
it be a small celebration after?
It's going to be the same people, and yes, it's going to be 30 people, and it's going to be outdoors, no dancing, nobody really moves around. We're just going to sit at the tables for the ceremony and for the meal afterwards, and that's that. Done, done, and doneer. You know, it's a very good example, actually, about how, just like the Brit Milah, this family still wanted to have the bar mitzvah when they were supposed to, so they had to adjust to it. It's one of the beautiful things about Judaism is you can adjust things and still celebrate, which is something important to me. So not like the birthday, that you can't have the big party. Next year.
My sister didn't have a graduation party.
Oh, hopefully by then, Sophia.
She doesn't want
You can
it.
make everybody get a test for the virus.
She doesn't want one.
You don't want one? I don't blame you. I don't want one either. All right, I am going to leave you, but I'm looking forward to seeing hopefully all of you and your friends in a couple of weeks.
Bye.
Bye, thank
All
you.
right, bye everybody.
Bye.
I'll talk to you during the week.